This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
The moment a body is found, the clock starts ticking. 48 hours before the trail goes cold. From A&E and Crime House, this is the official podcast from the famous true crime series, The First 48. I'm Carter Roy. Every Thursday, I revisit a landmark homicide investigation in depth with long-form storytelling built for your ears. Listen to and follow The First 48 on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 476 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Good, man. And you?
I'm doing excellent.
Excellento.
We've been recording all night.
Yeah.
This is our very last one. We always save Unsolved for last.
We do.
Or normally we do.
Typically.
Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout-outs. We had Matt James.
Thanks, MJ.
Tierney.
What's going on, Tierney?
Nicole Banning.
Banning. I like that.
Amanda Mattingly.
What's going on, Amanda?
Kat Johnson jumped out at her highest level.
Hey, thank you, Kat.
Michelle Waldbillig.
Well, thank you, Michelle.
And last but not least, Kathy B from either Ray O or Ray, Ohio. I'm not sure, but jumped out at her highest level.
Ray, Ohio, man. It's a beautiful place, man.
I got you. Then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Linda Fritz.
Hey, Linda.
So we appreciate the new support, the continued support. We have an episode out right now on True Crime All the Time where we're talking about Ben Rennick. He was this very well-known snake breeder who was found dead at his reptile farm in 2017. At first, authorities thought he was killed by one of his massive snakes because like a 600-pound anaconda was apparently running loose.
That's a big-ass snake.
But investigators pretty quickly realized that he was murdered. And there is a lot to this case. It's a very fascinating.
Gonna make you upset.
So check it out. All right, buddy. Are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am ready.
We're talking about the disappearance and death of Patti Adkins. In the early morning hours of June 29th, 2001, Patti Adkins clocked out of work and was looking forward to going on a trip with her boyfriend, a married coworker who worked at the same plant she did. 25 years later, no one has seen or heard from Patti, who has since been declared legally dead. But authorities do suspect foul play in her disappearance. 29-year-old Patricia Patti Adkins was a devoted mother to a 7-year-old daughter. Patti was divorced and had a parenting agreement with her ex-husband. She and her daughter lived in Marysville, Ohio.
Well, we know where that's at.
Yeah, not too far north from where we are. In a 2000 interview with Nancy Grace, Patti's sister, Marcia Pitt, said she was a devoted mother and a very family-oriented person. The sisters talked almost daily.
Shocking. Sisters talking almost daily.
Sisters and sisters, mothers and daughters. We got a lot of that in my household.
I still, to this day, don't understand what you all can talk about so often.
Yeah, if I talk to somebody once a week, I'm pretty well caught up. Every day, I don't even know what we would talk about.
I mean, I know they like to talk about the tea.
The tea?
The spilled tea or whatever, like the gossip or whatever they call it, But how much gossip is there out there?
Spilled tea
tea.
is a slang term for gossip? I did not know that.
Yes, gotta spill the tea.
Okay. Learn something every day.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I do. Sometimes you're full of it. So it's hard to know when you're right and when you're wrong.
I'm just trying to figure out what kind of gossip I could call you up and be like, hey, you won't believe this.
And I would be like, who is this? And hang up. Patti worked second shift at the Honda of America automotive plant in Marysville. She had worked at the plant for almost 10 years and was a supervisor at the assembly line. She was anticipating a promotion at the time of her disappearance.
Yeah, they're big up there. I remember when I worked for UPS, I used to deliver up there to them sometimes.
It's a huge employer, right? In Marysville, it's a big plant. But let's talk about this anticipation of a promotion, because I think you have to keep that in mind when someone disappears.
Sure.
Right? All of the things going on in their life factor in to whether they left willingly or didn't. Most people, if they think they're about ready to get a promotion, well, that's a good thing. We also mentioned that she had a 7-year-old daughter. She was very devoted to her daughter. She loved her family. Doesn't seem like the type of person who would just up and vanish.
No, doesn't make sense at all.
Patti was in a long-term, on-again, off-again relationship with her married coworker, whom some sources described as her boyfriend. In her interview with Nancy Grace, Patti's sister Marcia said the relationship lasted about 2 years. The man's identity was not disclosed in the sources used for this episode. Patti told family and close friends about the relationship. He allegedly told Patti he was going to leave his wife for her.
Well, a few things here, right? I mean, it's an on and off again relationship, obviously, probably because he is married. And I think there's a lot of people, men and women, when they're having an affair, will tell the other person that they plan on leaving their spouse at some point. But do they ever leave them? It's not as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm sure sometimes they do, but it also, I think, can be used as kind of a ploy to keep someone on the hook.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't want to wreck your marriage, but you also don't want to lose this other person with whom you're having an affair. So you kind of maybe dangle this piece of information for some period of time to keep it going.
Sometimes I think people I think their intention is or was to leave, but then they get cold feet and then are scared, and then they end up staying and not moving forward with what they said they were going to do.
Or they find out how much a divorce is going to cost them. And
yep, a lot of money.
According to Lieutenant Jeff Steers of the Union County Sheriff's Office, speaking with Nancy Grace, coworkers had seen Patti and him talking to each other at the plant, and the police had reports that they were together after work a few times as well. Patti Adkins was last seen on June 29, 2001, at the Honda of America plant. The Honda plant was preparing for shutdown week. The employees were going to have a week off for vacation over the 4th of July holiday, which was an annual tradition. And I know, a lot of big automotive plants do that.
Right.
My father-in-law used to work at the GM plant here when it was in Dayton, and they did something very similar. I think they shut down for a week.
They always shut down in the summertime, and they shut down for a week or two.
Or maybe it was 2 weeks, or multiple weeks. It was almost like, here's your time off, instead of having people take random time off, or maybe they could also do that as well. I don't know. The employees were said to have been looking forward to their plans for the week, including Patti. Well, who doesn't look forward to a week off?
Most everybody. There's always those few weird people that
they're like, I'd just rather come in and work.
Yeah, can I work on my time away?
Which sounds dumb, but you and I have both had people say that to us.
We have, yeah.
And I'm always like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Take the week off.
Do you not like being at home with your family? I don't understand.
Patty had been planning to go to Canada with her boyfriend during the shutdown week. They were going to leave together in his truck after work on Friday the 29th. Patty prepared for the trip by boarding her pets and arranging for her sister to watch her daughter. She told Marcia she would be back on July 8th. So, if you go back to my kind of analysis, right, on whether Patty would have just up and voluntarily left, I think here's even some more things that kind of fly in the face of that.
Yeah.
She's got this trip planned, right? She's boarding her dogs. Everybody knows she's going away. Her family does. She's supposed to be back on the 8th. It just doesn't seem, with everything that we talked about, that number one, she was the type of person who would have just left her daughter and her family behind. And then number two, that this would have been the time to do it. Right? You're going to just voluntarily disappear while you're on this vacation to Canada. If that was the case, would the boyfriend also disappear with you? And that's something we'll have to talk about as we move forward.
Yeah, I think she just was excited to go on vacation. She did what she had to get ready to go, and then something bad happened.
According to the Marysville Journal-Tribune, Patty said she was going to an unknown location, but it was most likely a remote part of Canada. It was an area that didn't have cell service, so she wouldn't be able to call anyone during the week she was gone. Marcia recalled to NBC4 that she was uncomfortable with the fact that she wouldn't be able to get in touch with Patty because the sisters talked often. We said, right? They talked pretty much every day. And, let's face it, there are quite a few remote parts of Canada.
It really is. I mean, look, there's a lot of beautiful places to go up there that, as you just mentioned, are remote and probably don't have the best, if any, cell phone service.
But it's also a little scary.
It is.
To go somewhere where you can't call for help. What if somebody gets hurt? I don't like to be out of touch. I also don't like to be in touch that much, but I want to have the option.
Sure.
It's not that I really want to talk to people. I just want to have the option of talking to people if I need to.
I mean, you might be able to Yoda or Yodo. What's that?
Did you just say Yoda?
I did.
Are you talking about yodel?
Yodel.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe one of
Yodeling.
those. Yeah, I don't know. Here comes the mounted police on his horse. I'm here to help the day.
Here I come to save the day. Now I forget what we were talking about. Because you said Yoda. You might be able to Yoda.
You were just talking about how you would not be comfortable.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't at all. And then when you look at a scenario where we know Patty goes missing.
Yeah.
Okay. Is going to a place that doesn't have cell service part of some diabolical plan? I think you have to ask that question.
Yeah.
Patty had her friend drive her to work that day, so she wouldn't have to leave her car at the plant while she was away. And that makes sense, right?
Sure
if they're
does.
leaving in his truck, she doesn't want to leave her car and might not be allowed to leave her car, right, at the plant for that entire week. When talking to her friend, Patty mentioned the remote location of the trip. She also mentioned that she was told not to pack anything because they would just buy what they needed once they arrived. She decided to pack a small duffel bag anyway. She told her friend it contained something blue that she bought at Victoria's Secret. Patty's friend recalled that she was excited about the trip and seemed happy. And, in these types of investigations, all of this is relevant. It's important. What was the person's state of mind before they disappeared? We're not seeing anything out of the ordinary coming from friends, family, people who interacted with Patti before she left on this trip.
Yeah.
Now, this remote location, no cell service. Now you find out that she was told not to pack anything because they would just buy what they needed.
It's a little strange for me.
Very strange. If it's that remote, are you going to be able to buy everything you need? I don't know how remote we're talking here. Are we talking you got to bobsled in on to this place or what? Iditarod or what are we talking?
But why pay money for stuff that you might have at home that you can go ahead and throw in a bag and take with you?
It's not like they're driving a Yaris. They're driving a truck. I'm assuming they got a little bit of room if it's just the two of them. It does seem very strange.
It does.
Patti reportedly didn't take any identification, clothing, or bank cards with her per the Marysville Journal-Tribune.
Now, that's even more strange, right? I mean, back at that time, you didn't need a passport to get across the border, but I would think you had to have something, but I can't remember what you needed back then.
I don't.
Driver's license or you just said, hey, I'm coming over.
Yeah, I don't remember either because in the late 90s, I lived up in Detroit. We used to go over into Windsor a lot, but I don't remember what you had to show, if anything. They probably just waved you on through and it's like, hey, take off, eh?
Take off, eh? But to me, I think it's weird that you don't take any identification and you don't take a bank card just in case, right?
All of this is very strange to me.
Yeah.
Patti clocked out of work 19 seconds after midnight. On June 29th, 2001, she was seen leaving the plant in her white Honda of America uniform. Lieutenant Jeff Steers of the Union County Sheriff's Office told NBC, when she left Honda that night, the plan was for her to get under the tarp cover in the bed of her boyfriend's truck because another coworker was going to be in the car. And the boyfriend didn't want other people to know he and Patti were seeing each other.
Okay, again, I mean, it's a little strange.
There's nothing that hasn't been strange in this story so far. I get it. You're married.
Right.
You're having an affair with someone you work with. You don't want other people to know. Maybe you don't take another coworker home that night.
Yeah, maybe you find different arrangements for that person. And that way you can just do your thing with her without having to go underneath a tarp in your truck.
Patti's close friends later told Steers this, adding that it was a 35-minute drive from the plant to the boyfriend's residence. Okay. So that's the 35-minute drive. At some point, I'm assuming they had to drop off this other coworker. So she spent 45 minutes maybe in the back of this. Now, maybe at some point he let her out and let her into the truck. I don't know.
I'm hoping because I'm thinking, late June, probably
a little warm.
A little warm. Underneath a tarp.
It is midnight, but also truck beds aren't built for comfort.
No.
They're rigid. They're unforgiving. So bouncing up and down on, a 30, 40-minute drive is not going to be fun.
I mean, I guess you have to really love somebody to get in a truck bed underneath a tarp and lay there for 45 minutes as you go up and down the highway.
On July 8th, 2001, Patti did not pick up her daughter as expected. Marcia was worried. She went to Patti's house and found her car in the garage and her personal items undisturbed. She decided to report her sister missing that day. Marcia decided to call Patti's boyfriend since she knew they were supposed to be together. According to Lieutenant Steers, he played it off like he didn't even know who Patti was.
Wow, what a dick.
He claimed he and Patti were not in a relationship and never had plans to go on vacation.
So this is something that, according to him, Patti made up.
Well, I don't even know if he's saying that because he's saying he doesn't even know who she is.
Yeah. Patti, who's that?
Let alone that, they were in a relationship, that they were planning on going to Canada together.
I'm sitting here right next to my wife, and she doesn't know who Patti is either.
Well, and that's a great point, right? Is there a reason why, when questioned, he might want to disavow any knowledge of Patti?
Yeah.
Now, there's the fact that he's married. That's one for sure. And obviously, if he had anything to do with her disappearance, that would be another reason. But on that angle, this would be strange by my way of thinking, because you're just opening yourself up.
Yeah.
In a major way. It would be much easier to say, yeah, we went on this vacation. She got mad. She stormed off. And eventually I just had to come home. I couldn't find her. You know what I'm saying? There's some story there that is at least somewhat more plausible than I don't know who Patti is. You know, finding a gift for my wife can be extremely difficult. You know, I want something that's personal. I can't give her a gift card, and I don't want to just grab the first thing I see off the shelf. Well, that's where Zazzle comes in. I made my wife a mug with our 2 Malteses on it. She loves those Malteses more than anything. So she was blown away to get a mug with them on it. Zazzle is a custom marketplace where you can take basically any product, a mug, a tote bag, a card, a phone case, and make it mean something. You're not just buying a gift, you're making one. You can browse millions of designs or start from scratch and build something completely your own. Either way, you're the designer and everything is made on demand. So there's no out of stock. Pick it, customize it, done. Over 30 million customers have trusted Zazzle with their most important gifts. Yours is next. Right now, save 25% on your first order at Zazzle.com. That's 25% savings on your first order at Zazzle.com. Go make some things amazing. Zazzle.com. You know, folks, when your mental health is suffering, therapy can help, but sometimes it's not the whole answer. Talkiatry gives you access to real psychiatric care with licensed clinicians who can diagnose and prescribe medication if it's right for you. It's a simple way to get effective treatment right from your home. Talkiatry is a 100% online psychiatry practice that provides comprehensive evaluations, diagnoses, and ongoing medication management for conditions like ADHD, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, OCD, PTSD, insomnia, and more. All 800 plus clinicians are in network with major insurers, so you can use your existing insurance instead of paying monthly subscriptions or out-of-network costs. Getting started takes just a few minutes. Complete a short online assessment, get matched with clinicians who fit your needs, and schedule your first visit in days, not months. More than 300,000 patients have already found high-quality psychiatric care through Talkiatry. Head to talkiatry.com/unsolved to complete the short assessment and get matched with an in-network psychiatrist in just a few minutes. That's talkiatry.com/unsolved to get matched in minutes. The family also talked to the friend who drove Patti to work and found out some of the details of the trip and her planning per the Marysville Journal-Tribune. The one thing that is certain here is that she wasn't shy about telling a lot of people about this trip.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew that she was going on it. She didn't keep it top secret.
So somebody here is not telling the full truth.
Well, and I think based on everything we know so far, you would have to say that the boyfriend is not telling the truth. Now, there could be some legitimate reasons for that, right? He doesn't want his wife to know that he was having an affair. There could also be some nefarious reasons for that. Because the only alternative is that Patti is lying to all of her friends and family about, number one, the fact that she has this boyfriend, and number two, that they were going to Canada on this trip together. And what would be the reason for her to lie? It's not like she's making herself out to look good. She's having an affair with a married man.
Yeah, no one's like, come here, give me a high five on that.
Now, he's saying he's going to leave his wife. That's what she's telling everybody. But I'm sure it still doesn't make her look great, right?
Right.
Patti's disappearance was classified as uncharacteristic and suspicious. Investigators, as well as Patti's family, knew she would not leave her daughter behind.
Yeah, that does not make sense for her to do that.
I'll be so honest with you. In so many of these unsolved cases, that's what I think. You know, when you hear about these people and how much they love their children, their world revolves around their children, the thought of them just up and voluntarily disappearing and never again, right, for 10, 20 years, even letting their family or their kids know that they're okay. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen. What I am saying is I think the percentage is so very minuscule.
Very unlikely.
Yeah. The Union County Sheriff's Office and the Marysville Police were involved in the case. Lieutenant Jeff Steers told NBC he got the case on July 10th, 2001. He was still the lead detective over 20 years later.
There's a case that probably haunted him almost every night.
Yeah.
Driving you crazy trying to figure out what happened.
And probably, still does.
Yeah.
Even after maybe he's retired now. I don't know if he is or not, but authorities tracked Patty's boyfriend down at his residence. Within a couple of days, he denied having anything to do with Patty's disappearance. He told police he barely knew Patti and they had no plans to go on vacation. He claimed that after clocking out of work on June 29th, he and a coworker left together, stopped to get fast food at Burger King on their way home. They waited about 45 minutes for their food. His wife backed up his story and said he arrived home at 2:30 a.m., which was his usual time. She didn't know anything about the affair.
Hey, have you ever waited 45 minutes for food from Burger King?
No.
No, nor would I.
But let's put this into perspective. If Patti jumped into the bed of the truck before the coworker got in the truck,
Yeah.
the coworker would know nothing about the fact that she was in there.
Of course not.
So would be truthful in telling police, hey, it was just, me and him. And yeah, we went to Burger King and, he dropped me off or whatever happened. That would also lead me to believe that if she was in the bed, she was in there for even longer than I thought or I talked about earlier.
Well, I think she was in the truck for a long time, covered up underneath the tarp. I don't know if it's the type of tarp that is locked once you shut the tailgate and you can only open the tarp with a key. I think you have something like that, right? Your tarp,
I do.
Yeah, your tarp is locked down.
Yeah.
So you could almost say she could have been trapped.
She could have been.
And that's a lot of heat and things like that. So maybe she died.
Yeah, it's possible. Right. And then maybe he goes to get her out, realizes she's dead, has to try to cover that up. I mean, that's a possibility. There's also some more nefarious possibilities that we'll get into.
Absolutely.
But it's clear, right, that they didn't leave to go on this trip because his wife says, oh, yeah, he's back home at 2:30 when he normally is.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sure she would have noticed if he was gone to Canada for a week.
So that's, probably why she said she didn't know anything about an affair.
Patty's boyfriend gave the police permission to search his property. According to the Marysville Journal-Tribune, investigators noticed a freshly poured area of concrete. Police later dug it up, but nothing was found. And to me, that's the first place you want to dig up.
Sure.
Because how many cases have been solved by digging up concrete that it was found out, oftentimes much later, that the concrete was poured just after a person disappeared.
Yeah. It's kind of almost obvious.
But they didn't find anything. Lieutenant Steers told NBC there were a couple of items found there at the house that circumstantially validated the story we were getting from other people about their relationship.
Okay.
Some of those items included a phone and T-shirt that Marcia confirmed Patti had gifted to the man.
All right. So he was trying to make it sound like Patti was crazy, but it sounds like Patti was not crazy.
Well, I think he just didn't want his wife to find out that he was having an affair.
Yeah.
Investigators also found a letter written by Patti talking about how she wanted to be with him. One of the most important pieces of evidence investigators found was a bed cover for the man's truck. Patty's boyfriend said he got the bed cover on June 26th. He reportedly said he put it on the morning of June 29th to cover up some fishing gear and removed it July 8th.
Interesting, right? That's the time frame that she was going to get underneath it, and then they were going to go up to Canada and return on the 8th.
Yeah, the timing is strange, but what's even more strange is police found a small spot of blood inside the bed cover. Testing identified the boyfriend's DNA and the DNA of another individual. Unfortunately, the sample was too small to even identify if the DNA was male or female per the Journal Tribune.
Oh, man, that's rough. I wish it was enough that they could have something more substantial.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2001. I mean, DNA technology in 2001 wasn't what it is now in 2026. They can do a lot more now with less than they could back then. The Charlie Project reports that cat hairs were also found on the bed cover. Patti owned cats, and her vet determined the hair came from her cat.
Okay. I mean, we're getting some pretty good information here.
Well, yeah. I mean, if this vet is correct, then it begs the question, why would Patti's cat's hairs be in the bed of this truck if she was never in it, if they don't know each other, right? I mean, that's kind of hard to imagine. Patti's DNA was not found in the bed of the truck, according to NBC. Police interviewed the manager at the Burger King where Patti's boyfriend said he stopped to get food after his shift. The manager said they were not usually busy in the early morning hours, and no one would have had to wait 45 minutes to get their food.
Exactly. That's BS. We know that. You know, I think the longest I've ever waited for my food at a Burger King might have been 10 minutes, but I certainly wouldn't have stayed in line or pulled up to the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 spot and sit there for 45 minutes waiting for a Royale or whatever Burger King serves now.
You don't know what kind of sandwiches Burger King has?
I just thought about it. I think it's a Whopper.
Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely not a Royale. I think you're thinking of Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing, right? We're talking about, what, 12:15, 12:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Is that peak rush hour at Burger King? I don't think it is.
I don't think so either. But even if, you know, a bunch of Honda workers go there because it's the end of the shift.
Yeah.
One, I don't think they're all going right to Burger King, right? And I don't think, and again, nobody's going to wait that long. You're just not going to wait that long for that food.
Well, and I would trust the manager, right? They're there. Sure. They're there a lot. They know how busy things get. And I think they would have said, hey, yeah, around that time, we're always super busy because everybody from Honda goes here and it can be 30, 45 minutes. No, they didn't say that. Lieutenant Steers told Nancy Grace in 2011 that the boyfriend did have a cell phone. Investigators pulled his and Patti's records and confirmed they had communication.
So again, he's lying, probably because of his wife.
Yeah, but it makes him look terrible, right? It does. I don't know her. I hardly know her, I think is what he said at one point. Well, you got a bunch of communication here, Jack, so it's kind of hard to pull the I don't know this person. However, Steers said they were unsure if he had his phone on him on the night Patti disappeared. Police didn't have evidence that the boyfriend went to Canada during the shutdown week. Based on statements from people they interviewed, he was at his house that week.
Which tells me something happened to Patti from the time that she got into the back of the truck and the time that he got home at 2:30.
Yeah. And now he could have dealt with it after 2:30. You know, he could have waited till his wife went to sleep, come back out.
Right.
Done something then. But at the very least, you'd have to say, this guy doesn't look good.
No.
The friend who was with him maintained his statement that they got fast food in the early morning hours.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, but I don't think they waited 45 minutes.
I never saw anything where the friend said that they waited 45 minutes. This person only said that they did get food. Police have never been able to track down the duffel bag that Patti allegedly packed for the trip. Investigators learned that Patti had given her boyfriend about $90,000 in the months leading up to her disappearance.
Wow.
That is a boatload of money.
I barely know her.
But yet she gave me $90,000.
Yeah.
She borrowed money from her retirement account. She also depleted some of her accounts. But according to Marcia, she did not fully max out her 401k and still had some money left in the retirement account. Patti's boyfriend reportedly needed the money to buy out his portion of his side business so that when he got divorced, his wife couldn't touch it. And that maybe makes a little more sense, right? If Patti and this guy had plans to be together, if he truly was going to divorce his wife, he could have spun some type of story to Patti where he needed this money, and if he didn't get it, his wife was going to take him for all he was worth, or, something along those lines, and then he wouldn't be as set up as he would be when they started their life together.
Maybe he was being truthful to her about it, or maybe he was just saying that so he could get that money.
His hands on her money.
Yeah.
According to Lieutenant Steers, Patti's boyfriend took a polygraph, and his results showed deception.
Shocking.
The man left the Honda plant and never returned.
Well, it sounds like maybe he was embarrassed or concerned what other people would think about what type of individual he was. Did he have something to do with her disappearance?
I don't know. This probably was a pretty good job.
Well, absolutely. It had to be.
They made good money.
Yes.
So him leaving to me is kind of strange. Now, maybe this side business took off. I don't know.
Plus the $90,000 that he had of hers?
Yeah, but I had a feeling he probably made quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
By mid-July, Marysville Police Chief Eugene Mayer told the press, "It's still a missing persons case, but chances dwindle as we go of finding her alive." And that's always true, right? I mean, unfortunately, the facts are the longer the case goes, the less chance it's going to be that you're going to find this person alive.
Yeah, definitely. The longer it goes, the more unlikely it is that she'll be found alive.
Mayer also said there have been lots of interviews and a lot of searching. By August 17, 2001, authorities said that a woman's body found by a farmer on August 16th was not Patti Adkins. The woman's body had been badly burned and wrapped in plastic. Examiners estimated that the woman died 2 to 6 weeks earlier from a massive skull fracture on the right side of her head. So it's sad because someone else died.
Right.
But you have to believe that authorities were very interested in this, thinking that this could potentially be Patti.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
As a small business owner, sometimes it feels like no matter how much planning you do, there's always surprises, like an urgent, expensive repair. But here's a surprise you will like. With Progressive, small business owners save 13% on their commercial auto insurance when they pay in full. So enjoy a surprise for once. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
But 6 months after Patti went missing, the police still had no solid leads. Police Chief Eugene Mayer said, per the Marysville Journal-Tribune, we're still actively working on the case. All of us hoped, if there was any foul play, that the farmers would find her when they went out to harvest, or the hunters would find her when they went out. And obviously, no one has found her yet.
Well, we know it can be very difficult to find a body. How many times have we covered cases where they looked right in the area where a body was found years later? They just didn't see it because the way it was laying in some brush or the way it was slightly buried. They just didn't find it then, and somebody came across it years later, and they went back and said, oh, we did search that area.
But I also get what he's saying, right? We have a lot of farmland here in Ohio.
Oh, we do, yeah.
And so, if you were to dispose of a body on a big piece of farmland, until whatever that is cut down, it would be pretty hard to see, pretty hard to find.
Yeah.
And then you also have the hunters. And we've seen that often where hunters find bodies because they're often walking in places that a lot of other people don't go.
I mean, this guy, her boyfriend, also seems like he was a fisherman. So maybe he knew some lakes or ponds that you could take a body to.
But that's the thing, right? They're saying, okay, police still have no solid leads. And I get that. I guess you have to focus in on the word solid.
Yeah.
Because the boyfriend has to be a prime person of interest.
I would think.
Based on all of the information that we've talked about so far. But is that a solid lead? It's suspicious, but depends on what you mean by solid, I guess. In January 2002, two Marion boys found a body in a culvert near the Southland Mall at Barks Road West, but the body was not Patti Adkins. It's also a little scary when you're just finding bodies.
They found two bodies so far that weren't Patti.
The body was identified as 47-year-old Michael James Swisher of Marion, who had been missing since September 2001. He was believed to have died of natural causes. Patti's case eventually went cold with seemingly no leads. And there's that statement, right? I get it. They don't really have a great lead.
Yeah.
But they do have a person of interest.
Pretty solid one, I would think.
But they're not talking about him a lot. As we're going through the research, they talked about him initially. But then as time goes by, they don't really bring him up that much. He just doesn't come up in the reporting.
You think that's because they feel like they just need to keep an eye on him until he slips up? Or maybe he didn't have anything to do with it?
Well, I don't think as far as the reporting goes, police had anything to say about him.
Yeah.
So if police don't have anything to say, what is a newspaper going to report on?
That's true.
Right? Nothing. On October 3rd, 2006, the Union County Probate Court filed a presumption of death so that Patti's family could organize her estate. Marcia Pitts told the Journal-Tribune it was something that needed to be done. We tried to keep it low-key at the time. We didn't want much attention on that. It was very difficult for us to go through that process.
Man, I hope they took that guy to civil court or something to try to get that $90,000 back.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that in the research, but, they did wait over 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's got to be such a hard decision to make. Eventually you're going to have to do something with her estate.
Yeah, you're going to need some of that money from that estate to help raise her daughter.
That's true. And maybe do a memorial for her or whatever. But you don't want to give up.
No.
Right? No family ever wants to say, yeah, we're going to have to finally say that she's most likely dead. In 2009, the show America's Most Wanted covered Patti's case. Police hoped the show would spread the case beyond Ohio. And if there's any show that would do it. America's Most Wanted is that show.
Sure is.
Tons of people watched it. I don't know how popular it was by 2009, but, it was a popular show for many, many years, and it did a lot of good.
It did.
It helped solve a number of cases. Marcia Pitt said the scope of America's Most Wanted brought new hope, adding, I truly believe that somebody has information, somebody that hasn't come forward. I'm happy that Union County has stayed on top of it and has continued to pursue the case.
And that's great, right? Because you don't always hear that in these unsolved cases, that the local authorities sometimes have backed down on the case.
Well, the other thing that you don't hear a lot is praise from the family for law enforcement for staying on it.
Yeah.
If anything, what we most often hear in unsolved cases is that, according to the family, the police just don't care. They're not doing enough, right? We get that a lot. Marcia said that coming to terms with the loss of her sister was difficult, but she said she knew from day one that her sister was probably not alive. And, I guarantee you that was based on the fact that they talked almost every day. She knew her sister.
Yep.
She knew her sister wouldn't leave her daughter, but she also knew that her sister wouldn't just not call her anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that was happening went against the person that her family knew she was. So that is a very bad sign in their eyes. In 2011, Marcia told Nancy Grace she thought money might be the motive behind Patti's disappearance. According to Marcia, in February 2001, Patti told her boyfriend he needed to start paying her back in July because she had to start making payments on her loan. 3 weeks after Patti brought up repayment, the boyfriend mentioned the trip to Canada. Whew, okay.
Yeah.
We knew that $90,000 was going to come back around.
And it did.
And this is, to me, a big deal in this case because it provides an incredible motive for the boyfriend maybe to want to murder Patti.
Yeah. I've got her $90,000. I don't want to pay it back. And if I don't pay her back, she might go tell my wife.
Yeah, so there's a number of motives there, right? I mean, you could see a scenario where this guy had no plans of leaving his wife. He possibly was stringing Patti along. Maybe he enjoyed being with her, and he didn't want that to end, but he wasn't going to leave his wife. Once he gets the $90,000 and then is told he has to start paying it back, I'm right with you. First of all, he doesn't want to pay it back because who wouldn't love to just keep $90,000? And secondly, if he knows he doesn't start to pay it back, she could potentially talk to his wife. His whole world could blow up.
Sure it could.
Those are definitely motives for murder.
Yeah. And depending on his position at Honda, his job could be in jeopardy.
Yeah, that's true as well. We know they were coworkers. We don't really know where they were is in terms of, did they work in the same unit? Was she actually a subordinate of his, which would play a big factor maybe into things?
Sure would.
I still think it's strange that he left Honda. Again, there could be a number of reasons for it, some that we talked about, but that is not a job that people give up easily.
Typically, they stay.
Because it's a good job in that area.
Yeah.
A very good job. Union County Sheriff Jamie Patton provided a case update to the Marysville Journal-Tribune. In 2016, he noted that Patti's information was uploaded to every national missing persons database and said, I think we've covered everything, even remotely possible to have the information out beyond the county lines and beyond Ohio's borders. Law enforcement believes that eventually someone will come forward with a key piece of information or that Patti's body will be found and investigators can conduct forensic testing. And that would be huge, right? Finding the body might allow for some additional evidence, maybe on cause of death, manner of death. Maybe there's some clothing. Maybe there's some DNA on the clothing, if it's still there.
Maybe,
we don't know.
Or maybe just the location where she's found.
Well, that could, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if they would have found her under this guy's freshly poured concrete, that would have kind of been a no-brainer. In June 2016, Marcia told the news outlet WCMH, "I don't have any hope that my sister's alive. I knew when she didn't return that she wasn't alive, but I have hope that justice will happen, that someone will be held accountable for her death." That same year, Patti's daughter, Patti Adkins, spoke for the first time about the case and how life has been growing up without her mom. She told WSYX, "It's been a challenge growing up, going through 15 Mother's Days without a mom, 15 birthdays without a mom." She didn't remember much about the days after her mom was reported missing and all the media attention surrounding her disappearance. At the time of her interview, Patti was 22 years old and attending grad school at Kent State. She said, "I think my mom would be proud."
Absolutely.
But that's heartbreaking. You know, to think she was 7 years old and then she gives this interview, and at that point she's 22 years old, 15 Mother's Days, 15 birthdays. She's going to obtain a graduate degree from Kent State, which means she already got her bachelor's. Her mom wasn't there for any of that.
No.
Not to mention just the daily advice and help and just everything that comes with, you know, having your parent in your life. She missed out on all of it.
Yeah. Terrible.
She expressed her hope that someone would come forward one day. She said, "We want closure. I hope someone will let us know what happened."
I think that's the best thing that she can hope for, is that somebody knows something that will finally just come forward and say, "Hey, you know, I know what happened that night."
Yeah, it's probably the only thing the family's going to be able to get right now at this point. In 2023, Lieutenant Steers told Dateline that they needed evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to make an arrest. Steers also said about Patti's boyfriend, "We follow up on every lead and every person that's mentioned to us as much as we can, but he is the primary suspect."
Of course. And that's what he's trying to say, is like, we could arrest him, but we need something beyond a reasonable doubt
to get a conviction.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want to go to trial and have this guy get off.
Exactly.
And then never be able to maybe be tried for it again. But I think that statement is very telling because it means they have evidence. They just need more.
Right.
They just don't have exactly what they need. In 2025, it was reported that an investigator with the Union County Prosecutor's Office had been assigned full-time to Patti's case. And that's amazing.
It is.
And we are seeing that a little bit, you know, more and more with some of the cold case units and things like that. But even then, I don't know how often someone is assigned full-time. The cold case unit might have, you know, many more cases than what they have unit members. This is a big deal.
And sometimes I think you have to do that so they can take the case from the very beginning and go through every step all the way through. Did we miss anything? Is there anything that we need to follow up on? What can we do to get to the answers that we need?
Yeah, I think a lot of times the best course of action is just to go back and try to reinvestigate, talk to everyone again. Now, not everybody's going to be alive.
That's true.
And you may not be able to find everybody, but a lot of times I think that's what they try to do. Union County Sheriff Mike Justice refrained from speculating on what happened to Patti without solid evidence, saying, "Right now we have a missing person. I'm not going to commit that it's one of foul play. it's strictly a missing person. Union County Prosecutor David Phillips added, it's a cold case, and he's going to take the evidence that we have, finding where the errors or holes that need to be filled, and try to fill those. The additional manpower was added soon after an online petition asked for the prosecutor to present the case to a grand jury. Phillips said this wouldn't be an appropriate step at this point, given the status of the evidence. And I get all of it. I get the family, I get the public wanting this case solved. And I'm thinking, they're saying, hey, take it before a grand jury. We think we know who it is, right?
Right.
I think the police do too.
Yep.
I think they believe it's this guy, but they want to be sure. And I don't blame them for that. If you don't have the evidence, you don't have the evidence.
Yeah. And you can't risk going to trial on that.
June 29th, 2026 marked 25 years since Patti went missing. Union County authorities and Central Ohio Crime Stoppers continue to seek new information to locate Patti. No one has heard from or seen Patti Adkins since June 29th, 2001. Foul play is suspected in her disappearance. Patti was legally declared dead in 2011. She would be 54 years old if she was still alive today.
Just a year older than you.
No arrests have ever been made in connection with Patti's disappearance. Anyone with information about this crime is asked to call the Union County Sheriff's Office at 937-645-4110, Crime Stoppers at 614-461-TIPS, or visit stopcrime.org and submit your tip online.
Hey, look, if you were around this area at that time and you can think of anything, no matter how small, that would be helpful, call them and tell them. And if you know this individual that seems to be a person of interest and you know anything strange, weird about his actions or something in his life that could help out, no matter how small or crazy it might be, go ahead and call them.
Yeah, it would be great if somebody knows something or remembers something and calls in. As we wrap this one up, Gibbs, I think this is very different from a lot of unsolved cases we do. This boyfriend, whoever he is, we don't have his name. It wasn't in the research. And we wouldn't say it even if we did, because it wouldn't be right. There is so much smoke that for me, it's hard to believe there's not some fire there, that he didn't have something to do with Patti's disappearance. I would be shocked, to be honest with you.
I wonder if his wife is still with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't find anything on that either.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it would have come out at some point, right? She would have known.
Yeah, of course she would. But would she be that type of person that stays with her husband because why not? He made a mistake and I forgive him and I'm going to stick with him.
Well, and some people do.
Sure.
Now, the other thing that you could have happen is a wife turn on a husband.
Yes.
But there's a very good chance she has no idea. If it's true that she had no idea that the affair was going on, she could legitimately have no idea what happened to Patti.
Yeah.
In fact, it would be in his interest. It would have been in his interest to keep her completely in the dark, which I think he did.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I just don't know, what would have happened. But I think you said it earlier. It does seem like if he did something to her, it would have had to have happened most likely from the time that maybe he dropped the coworker off to the time that he went into the house at 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, there was a good gap of time there.
There was. Now, like I said, he could have come back out later after his wife went to bed or something along those lines and disposed of her body. I don't know.
Right.
But she would have most likely have been either severely incapacitated or dead at that point.
Yeah. And he had that cover on until July 8th. So really, anytime from the 29th to the July 8th, he could have had the body underneath that cover and picked his time to dispose of the body.
Although I sincerely doubt he had it under there until July 8th, because you're talking about July. Even in Ohio, it gets very hot in July.
Very hot.
But I don't know. It's going to probably take, obviously some big piece of breaking evidence, or somebody with knowledge coming forward.
Yeah. I hope somebody does.
I hope somebody does as well. But that's it for our episode on Patti Adkins. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear them.
John, your most avid caller from Oregon. Sorry I blow your phone up all the time, and I have to apologize. A little late for that. But I'm mobile. I should probably send emails, but I'm mobile all the time, so it's easier to call. Was listening to David Vandermeer, and I don't think this guy's innocent or anything like that, but I just wanted to say that the sunrise time is a little misleading, given that there's a point before the sun has officially rise where the sky lights up, and it is somewhat visible. And if you're walking around in a kind of like serene, the sky's coming up over, or the sun's coming up over the mountain, it's a little misleading, that's all. Otherwise, that guy's a piece of shit and deserves whatever happened to him. As for dodo birds, they're a really stupid bird, and they would have brought their own extinction. Humans had nothing to do with it, and always beware of a man who raises pigs. That is all. Goodbye.
I always get a kick out of John's voicemail. So that was a TCAT episode, but I'm playing it on Unsolved.
Yeah, it was funny.
But yeah, his voicemails are always funny and yet somehow also informative.
Very.
Which is a great combination. All right, buddy, that is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
Every day as a small business owner feels like solving a puzzle. One moment you're cruising along, and the next, there's a shipping snag that has you scrambling. But here's a surprise you will like. With Progressive, small business owners save 13% on their commercial auto insurance when they pay in full. So go ahead, surprise yourself. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.